Hey everybody, good to see everyone coming on there. Who we've got now straight away? We've got Tom there and Claire Dodd, that's the first two up there. Oh, 33 straight on there, okay. Just give me a thumbs up and everything if everybody can hear me okay, so that I know I've got it right. You can see me and hear me and all is good, so give me a thumbs up. There we go. Cool. All right. Can you all hear me? Is everything all good? Let me know. We're going to give it a couple of minutes before we crack on. Yeah, all good. Wow, excellent. Okie dokie. Lovely job. Loud and clear. Whoa, that's a lot flying on. All right, cool. All right, lovely. Sound is fine. Very good. All right, we'll give it a couple of minutes and, then we'll crack on. We'll just give them like a few more people to come on. It does take them a little while. It's only just, well, it's not even past yet anyway, so we'll wait a little bit till we'll get to. Hello, Linda, all the way from Canada, and you can hear me right over there. That's brilliant. Okay. Lovely to see. So we're going to have, there's David back on, David Stanley. Hi, how are you doing? Brilliant. Obviously, if you're on Facebook and you haven't clicked the thing, I don't really know, but I mean, you got to put your name in, right? Or I can't actually see who it is. It just says Facebook user. Scooby Hills from Durham. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Not far from me then. Not too far. Zoe shared. Good vibes. Excellent. But what's that say? Bountiful me. Hiya. How are you doing? Cool. Pipe and slippers. I like that. Oh, cool. All right, excellent. There we go. John and Harrow. All right. There you go. Brilliant. All right. Good. Andrew. Hi. How are you doing? Now then, Nigel. Yeah. Scott from the Wirral. He's on as well. Brilliant. Oh, from Cork and Island. Up the Rebels. Hey, I tell you. I was just thinking about that today, because when obviously born if you heard anything, I was born in like very strict sort of like Irish Scottish Catholic family, but living in England, and obviously everybody with this thick Scottish accent, and I didn't know any better, just a young kid and everything. And you know what it is like, when they used to have later on when I got to I don't know 6 or 7, and they used to have house parties, right? And we'd moved up north a little bit then, and I didn't know what this meant, right? But my parents used to put these Irish songs on. I just thought it was Irish songs. I didn't know, right, that it was Irish rebel songs. Then you got to look at it from a completely different perspective, their side of it hated the English, because of the abuse and everything that was handed out to them, and to their family, which was Irish as well, which were Catholics, right? It was it was a strange thing to come from, and they got into a lot of arguments and fights and everything. So, and I didn't realize that that's what that was, and wondered what all the arguments were for and everything. Quite strange, But obviously later on, and you figure it out and you hear about it, and it's like, oh right, so that's what it was for then. And obviously, the thing is, say for instance, if you're in the forces and you get given a job, most people have joined the army or whatever it is, and I joined the Navy. I didn't go join the Navy to go and shoot people, right? Even I was a gunner in an armor. I just did it so I could go travel around and get drunk in foreign places. That was my idea, You know what I mean? I didn't expect to be like doing anything nasty to anybody, but like, you know, and I didn't, by the way. But you know, like you getting, I did go to Northern Ireland, but like in the sea, so not on the ground, like doing stuff that they did. Gun running patrols around it, which was weird, you know, when you think like, well, you know, this is my family from there. That you know, it was a strange thing, which is still going on, you know, believe it or not. And no matter what the governments tell you, they're all liars anyway, which is what I'm going to go over a little bit today. All right, so let's give a couple of more minutes. Well, not a couple of more minutes, but one or so, and then we'll crack on. All right, going to stand over here for a second, so nobody can see what I'm doing. Got a big mushroom on the telly there with music out to keep the dogs. We're growing loads of mushrooms. We're growing a lion's mane mushroom. You ever seen a lion's mane mushroom? And you can eat these things, and it grows out this big thing. Okay, and we're man, and we're growing this one here. It's the first time we've tried it. So anyway, and it's looking good. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just a mushroom. You cut it off and you can fry it. It's apparently it tastes a little bit like some kind of like a steak or something, you know. So, and then we're going to start growing more and more mushrooms. We've got tons of stuff planted outside. At the weekend, last weekend, had a great weekend, by the way. So if anybody's on lion's mane, it is very good, Linda. It's brilliant. This is getting bigger and bigger. I'll go and get it out. I'll go and get it out and I'll show people. It's I've never heard of it before. It's really good for you, very healthy. And it's a strange looking thing, but apparently it tastes okay. So I'm looking forward to trying it anyway. But we went down to Birmingham. I was down there on the Saturday night, so that I could relax and prepare for the Sunday for the event. But I couldn't relax because I couldn't get to sleep. And this bed, like, you know, was very uncomfortable. So I ended up having a bad back and a bad neck. You know, so but you know, it was the event wasn't far. It was only a few minutes away, you know, to the first event, which is on the Sunday, mixed up with all the days now with the bank holiday and being away, you know. But anyway, so I had the event on the Sunday, and everyone really enjoyed it. It was a whole long day. It went over so much information, you know, tons and tons of information, and loads of people there. I think it was over 200 people there. Everyone seemed to be happy, so I'm very glad about that. And then on the Monday, which was the bank holiday Monday, there was another meeting, but it wasn't about me, but I was presenting to, wasn't about me. You know what I mean, though. But anyway, so like was talking to and explaining about private trusts and PMAs and the privacy thing about keeping your privacy to you, you know, to other groups that are doing other things, you know, like growing food, setting up education, setting up like hospitals and stuff that are out. And this is what this will be a lot of, outside of the legal society. So really good, you know. But you know, brilliant. So listening to these people who are talking about creating their own banks and everything, this is going to be like let's just call it I don't want to call it parallel because it's way above them, but let's just say a completely separate society to the legal society. So you're going to have the legal society, which I'm going to talk about a little bit here, and you're going to have the people's society, or man and woman society. So, you know, that is and that's what I was telling them about, how to set up private trusts and be in the private and have private members associations instead of a business, a limited, where you're actually registering and licensing, where you don't need a license for anything. License is permission. License is paying the legal society for you allowed to do something, be it like get married, have children, you know, breathe, sell your goods or whatever it is. You know, why do you need permission? You know, you shouldn't be asking permission, you know. it's like a nonsense. But like, you just, when you're not questioning things, you just go along, you don't realize you're just going to get on with your life. But anyway, so that was a great meeting. Unfortunately, you know, the night before, like our meeting there, which was the Sunday night, Monday morning, right, somebody decided they wanted to smash into my car. It was a bit weird, you know. The hole on it's got to be about that big around like the door handle. So I must have had a big machine to like drill in this big hole on there, right? And then, you know, so they couldn't, I cannot open the door. It's totally broken, blah, blah, blah. So they obviously couldn't get it open, or did they want it open? This is the weird thing. And then they've smashed the window. But to me, like, I mean, if you smash a window, like, you know, you would either, if you've got something that you can drill, you could even just hit the window and it would smash, right? But instead of that, what they've done is they've used a tool, either a screwdriver or what do you call them things, a crowbar, and put it in the door and totally buckled the whole door. So they've ruined both doors, front door, like driver's side, and the back door, you know, and smashed all the window by doing it, but totally ruined the door. So I'm going to need 2 new doors. And then they've gone in and they haven't took a thing. They haven't. Well, there wasn't anything to take, but you know, when you're doing it and you know, you have a little the odd pound, 50p, 20p, and you put it in the little, well, whatever it is, there's a little hole there, and you stick it in, you lift up the lid, put the money in, put it down. If you ever need anything, you know what I mean? We go to a marketplace, right? And in the marketplace, it's in a train station, an old metro, like a underground. It's not underground, but you know, it's a metro station in Tynemouth or near Newcastle, and you can't go to the toilet unless you have 20p piece. So we have lots of 20p pieces in there. And what they've done is, you know, they smashed everything. They took out the money and threw it on the floor. I don't know, a bit weird. And then ripped all the front of the car off, like inside by the steering wheel. And then, right, even broken the USB lead. You know where you would charge your phone up? And it's like, this doesn't make sense. You know, what is it that we're trying to do? Did they follow me from the event? Did they know who it was? Or was it just one of them random things? You know, it's 50p for a penny. Bloody hell. That's what it used to be, didn't it? A penny. Put a penny and go to the toilet. Now it's 20p where we are. 50p. You've got expensive P, Marie. Yeah, something wrong. I don't know. Bit weird anyway. Bit weird. But I ain't gonna let it bother me. That's right. That's why I don't care about it. See, you know, I was a bit off put, you know, like when I found it and I was like angry, you know, and I had to take stuff out the car. I thought, well, what am I going to do? I mean, I'm talking about a towel that we have for the dogs, you know, like make sure there's no glass in it and stuff. So like, I moved the car closer to the hotel door, right? And I went upstairs. I can't remember what I did. I maybe like rang Janine, told Janine. So it goes back downstairs, and there's these 2 guys hanging around the car, and one of them's looking into the car, you know. So I went out and I didn't lose my temper, but I was a bit angry. And so I went over them, shouting at them, and anyway, they'd like jump back a bit, like, oh, sorry, George. And what they'd done is they'd actually sent their wives into the hotel to report that there'd been a break-in of the car, and they were just having a look to see what had happened. Yeah, but I didn't know that. I just seen somebody where I thought, oh, so it's you, was it? But anyway, so I tell you what, thank you to Mark for giving me a lift back after the meeting and everything like that, and getting back to the hotel. And then obviously, funnily enough, the police were outside the hotel. Total coincidence, or was it? I don't know. About 10 hours too late, but never mind. Anyway, so let's get back to this thing. The reason why I'm talking about this is my channel, on my YouTube channel. So even if you're on Facebook or whatever it is, if you're just visiting for the first time, all right, this is the name of the channel, 2021 Return to Democracy. So if you haven't subscribed, get subscribed, like the channel, send it out, do all that bit, all right? Now, what it is, I want to go over why it's called that and what I'm actually trying to put across, and what the whole point was at the very beginning. Now, this is going back like a few years now, maybe like about 3 years. Before I had the channel, I used to go on other people's shows. I used to talk on other people's shows before I did this one. You know, and they always said at the end, have you got your own channel? I'm like, no. You know, so in the end, I did create one. But this is what I was talking about when I was going on other people's channels. You can call it common law if you want to. But it's this, when I am going to describe the common law here, what it means to be common law. Not, you know, these things, these people still say these things, but like, I'm living under common law. What does that even mean? I'm protected by common law. You know what I mean? You got an umbrella, right? But this is what I was talking about. And the reason why I put 2021 is because I was wanting it. This is a few years before, you know, obviously I missed it, right? I wanted it to get back to true, real democracy, return to democracy by 2021. We had no chance, did we, really? But, you know, that was the idea. Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the word democracy. I don't want people to get confused. I've had a couple of, like, what would I call them? I don't know. People having a go. People being a bit, you know, saying things about, like, well, it's democracy. That's rubbish. It's like, you know, Americans are all saying, oh, no, but we're a republic. That's got nothing to do with it, right? The reason what we're talking about democracy is the essence of it. The essence of democracy is freedom. Now, are you saying that you want to be in a republic and you don't want to be free? Is that what you're saying? Right? Are you saying you don't think anything should be voted on, should just be on demanded by? Right? So think about what it is you're saying, okay? I'm going to explain the whole thesis of why I called it that and why I was on other people's channels. And I was talking about this on other people's channels 3 years ago. Okay? So, democracy. The word democracy. Let's look at the etymology of democracy, the actual etymology of democracy. Etymology, by the way, it's like a linguistic derivation, breaks down the linguistics, breaks down the words to get the meanings, all right? So that is what it actually means. But we're looking at this. This comes from ancient Hellenic Greek, not Greek today, not Latin, right? Not today's language, ancient Hellenic Greek. So the word that we're looking at in ancient Hellenic Greek is demokratia. Demokratia. So let's break it down even further then. So we've got demos, right, which means the people. And we've got kratos, demos, kratos, demokratia, kratos, which means sovereignty, or kratien, which means to rule. So we're breaking it down and we're looking at it through the ancient Hellenic. All right, the people, sovereignty to rule. Right, you can see where we're going with this. This is true democracy. On true democracy, the people ruled the government. The people were in charge of the government. Now, they keep saying, you know, now, oh, we work for you, right? You know, we have to do what you voted us in. It's absolute bullshit. You know, they're all lying. You know, they're all robbing you. They're stealing you. They all go into Parliament paupers, and well, not all of them, but, like, you know, the ones that could be from the street level go into Parliament poor and end up leaving millionaires. All right. So what they're saying to you is bull. This is how it should be. The people are ruling. They're ruling the government. Okay. And this is what I used to go on and talk about. So from the etymology, what do we get from the etymology? Okay. So we're getting democracy, the form of government in which the sovereign supreme power is vested in the common people. The emancipation and ethos of society produced by the power of juries of ordinary citizens. Juries of ordinary citizens. Got to get me on this. okay, in trial by jury, to vet, judge, make, and enforce the law. The people rule. The people rule, right? So what that means is the people decide what the law is. Now let's just like jump back a little bit and get you where I want you to be and what you're thinking about. Because, right, let's go back to like 2020, 2 years ago. Let's go back to Fat Doris and his pals and Whitty, all right? Walter Mitty Whitty and all that, like, you know, Watercock and all them idiots. Now, they came up with all this BS and they created, right, I'm not going to say the word, right, but the Charlie 2020 Act, all right? In reality, by democratic rule on here, right, we could have actually went into a court of law, real law, and got rid of that straight away. Boom, gone, by using what is the truth. And I'm gonna read an excerpt from a book to you tonight as well. All right, I know we are going to talk about trusts, by the way, but like I want to go back and just like give it a little bit of what we're supposed to be here for. This is true democracy, what I'm talking about. What the reality of democracy is. And we haven't got democracy. We've got like tyrannical rule, right? Despotism is what we're under. Nothing like democracy. Okay. All right. The law, the people rule. That's what we should be under. So if we were talking about that, like Charlie 2020, we could have been able to use our proper can't say the word, inalienable, that's the thing, inalienable rights to get rid of it quick. All right. But we have to deal with the complete and utter lies, all right, the corruption and the filth of all governments. And as we know now, governments, not even governments, they're just limited companies, corporations, all for profit. Okay? All right, you see? Have a look. Don't look at me. Now, bear with me a little bit because everything that I'm talking about here is complete and utter facts and it all goes back, right? Think about this one. I always say, look, stop talking about this Article 61. I'm going to bring, not Article 61, but I'm going to bring up another article, but it's tied to 61 if you know what you're talking about. And if you know what it means, well, all these other ones that go say that, you know, swear to a baron, absolute nonsense. Okay? So when it's real, right, the people have control over government and the law through the trial by jury. Trial by jury is how we actually rule. Okay? So the trial by jury, right, the people truly control the government, not, what does that say? Not the other way around. Okay? The people control the government, not the other way around. That is democracy. Okay? So what it means is here, on a trial by jury, we're talking about a jury of your peers, 12 people in a jury. Now, it isn't a jury trial. It's not a jury trial that you see on TV, whatever it would be, even over the last, like, you know, all of my life, right, when they're showing you all this nonsense, okay, all right? This is a jury trial, a trial by jury, not a jury trial. What they'll create is a jury trial and they'll get, you know, I've done it, you know, I've been there, seen all the nonsense, been in the court many times on both sides. All right. But what we're doing here on the trial by jury, which is a jury of your peers, which means really 12 people who know you. Did you know that? 12 people who are from your community. That should be a jury of your peers. Not what they try and say now is what they try and put a trial, a jury trial where no one's allowed to know you. So they don't know any background. This is the difference. So if you've got a trial by jury, and I'm only talking about a criminal thing here, right? But if you've got a trial by jury and say, for instance, a woman's been arrested for stealing some bread, hideous crime, we're going to punish her. But if you were doing a trial by jury and it was people from her own area and they knew that she'd like had a hard time and she'd lost money and she had no money and her kids were starving, they would know and understand, or at least comprehend, I should say, that she's doing it to feed her children, and they would find her not guilty because the act of what she's been arrested for is unjust. This is a real trial by jury. They deal in their conscience for the good. That is a trial by jury. Conscience for the good. Not about, like, did he do wrong? Did she do wrong? And that's it, and you're done. Big, big difference. And that is true democracy. And this is how we hold governments to account, which I'm going to explain a little bit later, okay? All right? So, this is where it is. This is how we actually do. And I've done this a couple of times. I've just done it a slightly different way to explain what we're talking about here tonight. All Mary's in. Hiya, Mary. So we've got the creator, obviously, right? Whatever you want to call it. You can make up any name you want. Not make up a name. I'll make up a name, Big Bob. You can call it the creator, God, Allah, whatever. But we've got the creator. We've got the top man, a woman. All right? And they create man or woman. This is it. We are just underneath. This is what we were given dominion over the world. So we've created society. The society of what we live in, right? Towns and cities, if you want to call it that now, but society. So the society to help one has created the government, and the government, it's made up of like public servants, right? And the government are always answerable to man and woman, always answerable, okay? Now, they decide the law. This is the democracy to return to, okay? When I say they decide the law, I mean man and woman decide the law to tell the government how to actually run it. That there takes it down to democracy. Man and woman tell the government how to run it. That is how we actually run a democracy. It's got nothing to do with voting. That is rubbish. That has got nothing to do with it. They are kidding you. They have lied again and fooled you. I mean, I'm not even on electoral. I hope you're not. Get off it, because, listen, 99.9% of people could vote for somebody. They're going to put in whatever they want. Doesn't matter. Like, it's all a scam, right? But here, this is how it should be run, and this is how it used to be run before they got too many tentacles in all of the thing, okay? All right, I am going to go on to the trusts, but I'm explaining what this whole thing is about and how I actually got started doing it. This is what I was talking about well before I was talking about, like how to, I don't know, get rid of debt or anything like that, because you should be using the democracy to get rid of it anyway. And it's true. Now, the thing is, everyone has the right to a trial by jury. It is an inalienable right. Okay? The right to trial by jury is inalienable. Therefore, right, the slightest attenuation of this right constitutes the crime of high treason. High treason in constitution and common law, real common law. Okay? This is all authentic. Get this word here, or this phrase, all right? Legum terri. It means law of the land. At the end, the A and the E are joined up on this one, legum terri. So constitutional common law, trial by jury, gives two ways to equal justice. You're going to love this. And this is true. All right? This is how we should be holding them to account. Holding them to account. And this is still valid today and can be done today. They're just lying about it and hiding it for various different reasons, and I'll explain over. But obviously just to like make money themselves, keep us poor, and to like not allow the truth to come out, right? But this here, right, you've got two ways to equal justice through there, right, the trial by jury. This trial by jury is the only democracy that there is. All right. Now, number one, we said there was two ways. So number one, cost-free, it's true, private civil criminal, or fiscal prosecution to establish rights and punish or obtain remedy for wrongs, including those committed by persons in government. Persons in government, all right? Cost-free. Everything should be cost-free to the man or the woman under legem terrae. That means the law of the land, or common law, if you want to call it that, okay? Right? And it's established the rights and punish or obtain remedy for wrongs, including those committed by persons in government. Okay, so public servants, they are truly accountable to man and woman. And it is the truth, right? They're just trying to hide it. But in the, which I'm going to go on about a little bit, all right, we are talking about like the Magna Carta, the Great Charter, the European and the British Constitution. And that's exactly what it is. They just try and hide it from you and don't let you know. I'm going to talk about it a little bit in a second. But that is number one. Cost-free, private, civil, criminal, or fiscal prosecution to establish rights and punish or obtain remedy for wrongs. I've told you about wrongs before, haven't I? Including those committed by persons in government. So I've showed you how to do notices before and writing it, right? Writing a notice for remedy for a wrong. And then if they committed a wrong and they don't provide remedy for the wrong, it moves up to a harm. And then from there, from a harm, if they don't provide remedy, it moves to a trespass. The trespass. Okay, so when we're looking at trespass, this is a very powerful word. That is what, and it's not trespassing. That doesn't exist. That's not a real word. I'm talking about trespass. They've committed a trespass against you. All right. That there is a powerful word. That there is something to be worried about when someone is coming at you saying you have committed a trespass. Or, right, what they'll say is, I am going to prosecute you for a trespass by way of theft. All right. By way of physical assault. So, battery, it would be called. All right. So that's number one. Number two. Woohoo! All right. As a right to establish your innocence in defense from all fines, summary punishments, accusation or prosecution, cost, all right, from there, right, up to this bit here, right, I'm just telling you this, as a right to establish your innocence in defense from all fines, summary punishments, accusations or prosecution. Nowadays, what they say is you're guilty or not guilty. Guilty or not guilty. And that is in one of their courts, not in a legem terrae. So here, right, you're actually saying that you're innocent. You're innocent. Right? Whereas now, let's say, are you guilty or not guilty? You're just guilty. Okay? All right? Cost-free prosecution is recognized by the legem terrae, law of the land. All right? That's the Magna Carta, Article 40 in Chapter 5. All right? That's the Great Charter Constitution. And that is of England. Fair enough, but this actually is so similar to what covered the whole of Europe. So the trial by jury is just so well established in all European countries that, obviously you've got the Saxons that actually created what you could call England now and Great Britain now and the British Constitution. All right, and that's the same thing. They used to have a trial by 100, but it's just a bigger version of the jury by 12. And even when they were having the trial by 100, the jury by 12 was far, far more common, right? They would do it that way. It was only if it was probably a majorly serious offense that they wanted to get more people to have an opinion. But generally, it would be by the 12. Okay, so that is the two ways of where you can actually be served by the trial by jury. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, explain a little bit more about it. Very important. This is so important to you that this is how you should be living your existence, living your life, and keeping these to account. Because the Parliament, speak, well, I'll go on about that later. They're lying all the time, trying to keep you away from the truth, away from the Constitution that rules everything, not just the American Constitution or United States Constitution, but we've got the British one, the English one, the whole thing still stands under this. They cannot take it away. All right. So this is from a guy called Thomas Jefferson, 1789, and he was over in the US. And he said in a letter he was writing to another guy called Thomas, I think it was, I consider trial by jury as the only anchor yet imagined by man by which a government can be held to the principles of its constitution. So the trial by jury is the only way we can hold them to account for what they do in our name. All right, so now they do whatever they want. They do anything they want. All the palaver, all the nonsense, none of it is real. All of the stuff that you're seeing on TV is lies. All of this stuff going on in all of these different countries, and like, you know, I'm not saying no one's getting killed. They're killing everyone all over the place. That's what they want. They need to get rid of people. That's all they're doing. They're killing people left, right, and center, right? But it's for their gain, right? It's nothing to do with, you know, what they're trying to actually say. They're just literally trying to cash in on the Settler KV trust of people so they can get rid of them and keep the money. Because if they live too long, and now and again, right, the governments, right, which are not governments, they're de facto corporations, and it's like the 13 families, etc., that run all this. They just want to get rid of a load of people so they can keep the insurance bonds that they've created and sold on the stock exchange. Hopefully you've watched a lot more videos and you know what I'm talking about. Okay? All right. So this is the thing. Today's version of a democratic vote is not democracy, right? It's complete mob rule. And it is. Just think about it. Now, you've probably never given it a think, or more of them voted for this, so it must be right. No. That is mob rule. Okay? 49 to 51, then you lose. Right? Think about like that Brexit nonsense, all right? And everything that's been going on ever since. That was just all designed to divide and conquer. So what they want you to do is to get that 41 to 51. I don't care what country you're in. I don't care if you call it a republic because you live in the United States, or if you live in Italy or whatever it is. When they're voting, they still vote. They still decide, you know, they put that, I know it's all a scam, right? But what they're saying is, if more of them vote, then mob rule wins, and it is mob rule. Okay, that is not democracy. All right, democracy is unanimous. That comes from the ancient Hellenic Greece, or Greek, Greece or Greek. The democracy, demokratia, was unanimous. Everyone voted to do it. If everyone didn't vote to do it, and it wasn't unanimous decision, it didn't happen. You didn't do it. It had to be unanimous. Everyone had to agree. Then you moved forward on whatever the plan was. That is a democratic decision. That is democracy, right? Not 49 to 51. That's mob rule. If more of them want it and there's less of you to stand up for it, then we just run over you. And that's literally what, I mean, you must know that now. You must feel that just with that description. Okay? All right? So we have, it's got written there. I was going to say that. We've got suffrage. Suffrage. Now, can you remember the term, the suffragettes? The suffragettes, like the ladies that they would go out and protest in the United Kingdom or in England, trying to get a vote. Okay, because they wanted to have a say, and they called them suffragettes, right? Because what we have is suffrage, which means, right, mob rule. It's not democracy at all. You know, suffrage, can't remember her name now, and she went and ran out in front of the king's horse, got herself killed. You know, but like they actually fought hard and like fair play. They were really standing up for their rights and everything. Completely agree with all of it. But that's all we have now is still suffrage. All right. So for a so-called democracy like the UK, Europe, Australia, Canada, any of that, or a republic like the United States of America, call it that. It's still suffrage. You can call it republic if you like, right? If you're getting 49 to 51 and they get voted in, it's suffrage. You can put any call it a republic, call it a democracy. It's not. It's none of it. Okay. All right. So what it is it's suffrage, and that's all it is, right? Mob rule, suffrage. This is it. Now, this is why I had set up, right, my channel, and it was all about getting back to true democracy, i.e., a whole unanimous decision to make it fair to move forward. That is what I was talking about. That is what I wanted to get back to. I wanted to get back to what would have been a Senate, right? Not the US Senate, where it is mob rule and it is corruption and it is filth. I'm on about the Senate that would have been in ancient Hellenic Greek, right? Greece, the Romans copied and everything, right? When they had the Senate. And that there, where they had the discussions about it, they had a vote on it, and it had to be unanimous to move forward. And then they would always have the trial by jury, and this is why we still have it now, right? That they could be held to account and pulled up at any time by the people to say, we disagree with this rule or law or conviction or whatever, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more about in a second. All right. So now, what I don't like people talking about is saying, oh, I'm standing under Magna Carta, Article 61. They don't really know what it means, or they're relying too much on what they're saying, or they want to swear allegiance to a baron. I'm not swearing allegiance to anyone that isn't the creator. The creator is the only thing I'm going to swear allegiance to. Everything else can do one. I ain't swearing to a barons. I ain't swearing to a queen. I ain't swearing to anything except the creator. So on the Magna Carta, the Great Charter is what it means, 1215. I don't care who invented it. I don't care. I know that it had so much influence from the Vatican, right? Influencing the barons because they wanted to control what happened so that the Vatican was controlling what happened in the City of London. They've always been after the City of London, all right? That's why they actually got it invaded in 1066 by William, because they had voted a guy in the Wiccan. Now, that was democracy, right? So he's in there, right? This guy's got no bloodline to the cabal whatsoever, right? But I'll not go backwards on there, right? So we're talking about the Magna Carta 1215. And I've put kind of like GDPR today. The reason why I've put that is because I think it's quite funny, because there's a lot, it wasn't written for us. It was written for them, right? The barons that, like, you know, the support, whatever they did, maybe it's the hold the sword. I wasn't there. Were you there? We don't know. All right. But the barons got this written up with the influence of the Pope, and it got signed. However it got signed, it did get signed to say that this is what you have to act like now. And now we can actually use parts of it right now, even now today, to protect ourselves. Which I don't think it was meant for us. It was meant for them. And a bit like GDPR today. On the GDPR, we use it all the time to protect ourselves. And it's amazingly powerful. But I don't think it was meant to be. I think they've done it, created it to protect themselves, didn't realize how much it was going to help us when we learned it and learned how to use it against them. Okay? So let's have a look at the Parliament. Now, what I want to talk about the Parliament is because of the Magna Carta. And the Magna Carta is a very strong document, and it protects a lot of the rights of man and woman. On a Parliament, whatever it is, a Parliament, UK Parliament, whatever, par means to talk. The first part means to talk, like in French. Okay, lie, well, we know what lie means, and you're telling lies. Okay, and then ment in French again, it means mind. Okay, parliament, right? Talking lies to our minds. Parliament, the UK Parliament, whatever Parliament you want to be, any government really, all they're ever going to be doing is telling lies to our minds. Now, let's say that you've got the government and you've got the judiciary, which is made up, well, anyway, you've got the both of them there, okay? Now, the Magna Carta has been changed, apparently, by parliament telling lies to our minds many, many times to try and make it easier for them to do whatever the hell they want, and to stop us having the freedoms that we desire. However, they are not allowed to do that legally in their world or lawfully, because they are telling lies to our mind. They are under this document. So because they are under this document, they cannot change this document. Imagine you getting given like a document that you've signed and already agreed, right? That you have to, like, I don't know, do whatever. And then you, once they give you the document, you actually cross loads of bits out and say, yeah. I know I've signed it, I know I've agreed it, but them bits don't count. That's what they've done. They are part of the document. They are ordered by the document. They are governed by the document. They are not allowed to change the document. Now, this document, the Magna Carta of 1215, it was exactly the same document that allowed them to get in and set up, right, the US Constitution, and which has got the Commonwealth, and they were part of the Commonwealth, you know. So this whole thing, right, all covers all of us, wherever we are. Hope you're getting this. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to go on to have a look at, and you can Google this. This is very true. The trial of William Penn and William Mead. And this was happened in London in 1670. It's very, very important. Now, William Penn, him there, right? He actually is founded Pennsylvania in the United States, William Penn. All right. So, you know, they went on trial, William Penn and William Mead in London in 1670. And what they got arrested for and what they were getting prosecuted for was preaching to an unlawful assembly in Grace Church Street in London. All right. Now, there is a plaque in the Old Bailey in London. Okay. You can go, it's still there. Now, what they used to have it on really big display in the Old Bailey. Now they've hidden it now, so not too many people can actually see it. And I think because it actually tells too much truth. So I'm going to tell you about it and what happened. So, all right, these two, William Penn and William Mead, they got arrested for preaching to an unlawful assembly in whatever, Grace Church Street. So they got put on trial, and the thing is, right, they just went, yeah, we did it because we are preaching the word, in their words, right, the word of God. We are like helping people, teaching them the word of God, preaching the word of God. Now, they were found not guilty by trial by jury, a jury of their peers, 12 of their peers. And this is the thing, right? This is the truth of it. And this is what still is, in fact, the law everywhere. The law all over the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, Scotland. This is it. This is the law. So what happens is a trial by jury. The jury said, not only are they innocent, but this is an unjust law, and you need to strike it off the statute book. Okay? So what happened? William Penn and William Mead, they had to get released immediately, but the jury, they actually locked the jury in jail. All right? They locked the jury in jail, saying to the jury, that's terrible. You know, you've made us lose this case. And we're having to knock this law off our statute book. We're having to completely change the law book because of you. And they locked them in there. They didn't give them any food or anything, or any water. They didn't give them anything. Locked them in for a few days. And it was by a writ of habeas corpus, right, that they actually got them released. Somebody got them released by, hopefully you've all got your habeas corpuses ready so that somebody, if you haven't got one on you, someone will do it for you, and you can get released from an unlawful imprisonment. And that's what they did. There was a lawyer wrote a habeas corpus to get the jury released, right? It was locked up with, like, you know, literally no food or water, because like the judge and the judiciary was so pissed off with them because they found them not guilty and said that's an unjust law. You have to strike it off the books. That is democracy. That is holding the Constitution up and holding the public servants to account. And it's still valid today. They're just lying to you and hiding the facts. This is why I went on different people's shows. This is why I created my own channel, is to try and put the actual justice and fairness back into our lives, into your life. Because this is the fact. Trial by jury is democracy. Whichever country you're in, and trial by jury, you can actually hold them to account. So can you imagine that law of Charlie 2020, when Fat Doris and Walter Mitty Whitty and Watercock were putting them things into place, which is completely illegal and unlawful. We could have done a trial by jury. Anybody that had got one of their most ridiculous fines, we could have had a trial by the jury and had that replaced, abolished, and got rid of the act. Okay? I'm not saying that you could do it, but this is a fact. Now, look, I mean, how many people would you need to get behind that? You would need a lot of people to get behind that, but this is the truth. And what they're doing is, because the hide it all, like they hid the plaque. The plaque's still there, but they put it around the corner, so you couldn't actually see it, because then it would be telling too many people what you're allowed to do, what the real law is, the legum terrae. What's legum terrae? The law of the land. Okay? So, right, that is what I wanted to show before I go on to doing a little bit of the trusts. Hopefully, I know, but the thing is, that is good education anyway. You need to know this stuff, because they're trying to hide the fact. I don't care what country you're from, because the United States still has to be under a trial by jury. Thomas Jefferson said so, one of the founding fathers. Right now, Australia, Canada, New Zealand are all under the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth comes under the Great Charter or the Magna Carta, which states trial by jury. 12 of your peers is the only way that justice can be served. All right, does that make sense? Right, that is why I started the channel. That's why it's called that. I'm not going to argue about people being in a republic or a democracy or a European or who gives a shit. That is what I meant by it. That is why I called it that. That is what I'm trying to get across to people. Democracy needs to rule, and it's a unanimous democracy under trial by jury. Does that make sense? It is called, hang on, I need to hide these things. Yeah, it's called jury nullification. Brian, you're absolutely correct. That is what it's called. Jury nullification. It actually nullifies and takes away the unjust acts. You know? So that's went on a bit. All right. So that is all historical. That is all true. Okay. That's exactly, why I started the channel. All right. So remember, we're talking about everything I've spoke about there, talking about the law of the land. All right. We're talking about the Magna Carta. We're talking about the truth. We're talking about the trial by jury. Anything else is false. Anything else is a lie. Acts and statutes do not exist in reality. They are all false. That is the law of the sea. That is what we're living under now. I'm going to show you a little bit more about it now. Before I tell you what, if you ever want to read more about it, let's see how much notes I got in. Have a look at this book here. It's called Democracy Defined, the Manifesto. See this here? This is the plaque. Oh, there it is. This here is the plaque. At the Old Bailey, you can see it says William Mead and William Penn. All right. I've been reading this for years. I've gone backwards and forwards this for years. This is the legum terrae. This is the law of the land. This is where, right, we're actually talking about it for the law, not the legal society. Okay. Now what I'll do, and I'm going to tell you about the legal society, and I'm going to say this because obviously you might have seen a YouTube channel by some fool in a wig. Now, if you've got a black belt, the only way that you can get a black belt, if in my eyes, you know, is by being in honor and being honorable. So if you're making a living by lying, you're not a black belt. You'll never be a black belt. All right. And you can shove that black belt when the sun doesn't shine, because you've got no honor. You've got no truth about you. You've got no democracy about you. Now, you're from the legal society, then you're a liar. Okay, point blank. So I'm going to read this out, and this is about democracy before we go on to the trusts and everything, and about the legal society. I need these because it's a little bit small writing. And it says, people, be warned not to expect truthful advice about the Constitution and the sovereign power of the jury in the authentic common law trial by jury from willing participants colluding for pay in the current illegal modus operandi of the courts. The courts, such as judges, magistrates, members of the law society. It's not even law, is it really? QCs, DAs, and so on. For such people to pronounce facts and truth on these issues is for them the indict of their own modus operandi out of their own mouths. Okay, so basically what they're saying is, you know, no way is anyone linked to the legal society going to explain law, legum terrae, or the well, I told you that they actually changed it, or said that they changed it. I've even seen the fool in the wig, right, pretending to be a black belt, say that, well, the Magna Carta, we've actually got it all changed now. These are all the liars. These are all the ones that are operating under the illegal, because it is, but let's just say unlawful, because that's the truth, legal society. They have installed this this maritime nonsense, right, through the person, and that's what it's all from. That's what it's all created by. It's not the trial by jury, right? They do a jury trial if it goes that far. Even on a magistrate, or if you had a real magistrate say, well, look, I want a trial by jury, it is your inalienable right to have the trial by jury. The rest of it, they're all just lying to you, railroading you and forcing you down the road of maritime. Yes, we're going to have some friendship and some citizenship, some workmanship, some dictatorship. Yeah, it's not some friendship. All right, a little bit too much. Let's freeze the assets. Let's go in the banks of the river. Let's have a current sea. All right, all maritime nonsense. All right, wow, I've been on an hour already, and I was just talking about, haven't even touched about what I wanted to talk about. Does that make sense, though? Does that make sense? All right, talking about that, I mean, it's good for you to know. And see, I tell you what it is. They've got a couple of books. He's called, right? I think I've got him on Facebook, and he's Ken Dudney. Well, look at his name. Where is it? Look at his name, Ken Dudney. All right, you can see how much I've worked. Like I keep going over it, and look, and I tell you, I mean, this is the most disgusting thing. All right, when you look at the demonstrations that they actually had in Canberra in Australia about freedom and everything, they've actually got a Magna Carta monument in Canberra. Can you believe that? The true democracy and freedom, and they've got a monument to it in Canberra, right? Which is just shows pure dictatorship and tyranny, right? Look, it shows you on here. Look at it. Hopefully that'll not be too glary. Look, Magna Carta Monument, Canberra, Australia, the birthplace of modern democracy. The birthplace of modern democracy truly is, right, Runnymede, right? It certainly wasn't bloody Canberra, when you got them like scumbags and arseholes and liars and thieves, right? All of those, like in Australian government, are just as bad as the British government. It's just disgusting. And we despise you and we condemn you to the depths of hell where you actually crawled out of in the first place. You're going back, and we're going to put you back because we come from the Creator. And there you go. Now on to the second stage, right? Hopefully I don't run out of time before I get to where I wanted to be. But that was important. I think, I should do a little bit more about that, because getting onto the democracy of what we're trying to be. This is, and when we're getting these communities set up that are going to be growing their own food, and they're going to be in a position where they can actually trade with other communities. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the trusts now and how that would really protect you and affect, right, what's going on by privacy. We all should be private. We've given our privacy away so easily. And they do it. Look at it now. They're ridiculous. It just gives me a headache seeing how much privacy they're giving away for benefits, right? I'm not on about like you signed on benefits. I mean, get on a plane, right? Go on holiday. You're not allowed to go on. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give away all my privacy so I can go on holiday. Fuck off, right? Get some balls, right? If back in the day, right? We're talking about that. I was saying before about Ireland, right? In Scotland and England, and how we were like, getting into trouble for playing. I didn't know that there were actually like rebel songs because, like, my family had been fighting the English in a war. Then, right? They used to have something called soup money. Okay. Now, in Ireland, the soup money, just think about this when they're talking about Charlie 2020. You couldn't go anywhere unless you had something. On there, they wouldn't give you. They're all starving to death. They created a famine so they're starving to death. They're going to be food shortages coming soon. Like, just watch it play out for the same as what they did then, right? So they were starving all the families to death, and they would not give them anything. But if the Irish, or the Catholics, if they converted the religion, they would give them soup. If they wouldn't convert, they would make them starve to death. Called it the soup money. Okay? That's just what they're doing now. It's called compelled benefits. All right? They'll let you go fly on the plane, go on a holiday, go to Greece if you get a stab in your arm. Anyway, got to get some thinking about going on here, some critical thinking. So anyway, let's get you quick. I'm going to fly through the rest of it because it's getting late. All right, steps to protect, correct your status. This is what we need to do to go into privacy. Now, correcting the status means that you're private and saying you're alive. We do it through the LND, right? Lawful notice and demand. There's only 3 documents you do, 3, all right, that we do with this. The lawful notice and demand. All right, and we have like a what we call a lasting. I'm going to put POA, power of attorney. Totally different to the one from Birmingham, which I've got written here. Totally different. We send this off to the government together. The LND, lasting power of attorney, and I'm going to put SA, security agreement. Them 3 together, look, and you send them off. The first one you send to yourself. Once you've sent it to yourself and you've done all the postal mechanics on it, you've sent it to yourself, you've created the contract, and you've got the tracking number from the Royal Mail so that they can't even lie about it. Once you've done that, then you're going to send it off to the Sinister 7, right? The 7 government buildings. We used to do about 15 to 16 to 17 of them. We just cut them down because the rest of them are nonsense. These are even nonsense. But we have to tell the nonsense that we're alive under their Set the KV Act, 1666. It tells you you're dead unless you tell them you're alive. They use the tacit consent. We're flipping it and giving them tacit consent, saying if you don't tell me that I'm wrong, then I'll presume that I am right. And I'm actually alive. and I can actually be a man living or woman living in the private. All right. So you send that off there. You've got 40 days, 40 nights that you have to wait. Then you send them a second one saying, thank you. Now I'm going to give you another 40 days and 40 nights, just in case you forgot about me. Right. And after that, and it's a second affidavit. It's only a couple of pages long. That's huge. All right. I don't know how many pages, but it's getting bigger all the time, but only because I'm putting more things in to help people. But the one that I've done was ages ago. It doesn't matter. Right. You know, I mean, I'm still there. I'm still private. So I'm making it better for others. It doesn't mean that what we've done before, which is me as well, by the way, is worse. All right. So as soon as you've done that and you're getting yourself in, you don't have to wait the 40 days, 40 nights, and then another one, which is 80 days. Start the process straight away of setting up a private trust. Okay. Now, on the private trust, I've had loads of people like say things like, oh, I don't need a trust. I haven't got anything. I don't own anything. Listen. Right, I don't know if I've got this written down, so I might run out of time. So I'm just going to tell you it now. Like, let's just presume you have a farm or a piece of land, right? I would love to get a piece of land, right? Just so I had a piece of land to grow food on. Doesn't have to be a huge farm or anything, but you know, someone was talking to me at the weekend, and they were like offering me a bit of land. I was like, wow, can't do that, man. That's too much. It's too much. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But they'd said they'd work this out. That this piece of land there, which is bigger than my garden, right, could probably like feed a family, right, for a year if you just kept rotating it like that, right? So think how powerful that is. You don't have to worry about what they're going to stop the supermarkets for, and that's what they're going to stop stocking the supermarkets. Funnily enough, right? You know, I was telling you about my car. So they smashed my car up, right? So I ran to get, and I had to keep taking photographs and sending photographs. The two things I said was, we're going to get delays in repairing your car because we've got staff shortages due to illness. Why would anyone be ill? Zip, 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 zip. Right, and we've got parts shortages because we've got missing supplies, right? So they're not getting the actual stuff sent to them. So they've got shortages in staff and in supply. All fakely done. They're actually forcing this on us. You know, crazy. So anyway, I went shopping. Right, so like now it's driving a car's a nightmare, and we've got no windows, you know, because I smashed the windows. So I don't want to like be parking it in too many places in case you get more damage and whatnot. And I can't go shopping and leave stuff in the car because it's going to get nicked. So I thought, well, I'm going to do one shop, get as much food as I can for like, you know, 10, 12 days. So I'm in the supermarket, and I'm walking around the supermarket, and I don't talk to people. I don't, you know, but there's this woman working in the shop, and she's putting stuff on the shelf, and she said, yeah, well, we've cut back on staff because we're not as busy, because people aren't shopping as much, because there's not as much in the shop. All of the deliveries are slower, and when the lorries do turn up, sometimes there's nothing on them. Everyone's getting really worried. Now I'm thinking, this is like how they're keeping the vibration low. They're scaring even the people in the shop. Everything is actually getting pushed down. Everything is getting like vibrations is keeping low, and they're trying to scare everyone, right? So anyway, and this has got to do something with the trust, you know, keep with me. So they're saying there's going to be a shortage. They're pushing and pushing and pushing for shortage of everything. So imagine if you had a private trust set up and you had your own land, your land growing your food is in a private trust. No one can come in and touch that land on that private trust. If you've done it right, right? Now, if you haven't done it right and you tell me some story about, like, yeah, well, they had a private trust and they went and took everything, then you've done it wrong, right? If you've done it right and you've done it correctly and you've done it in law, they cannot, like, they're passing all these houses of like £1 billion or whatever it is, and there's no inheritance tax because they've done it right. And if you've lost something, it's because it hasn't been done right. Make sure it's done right, and nobody can touch it if it's in a private trust. Okay, set it up properly in a private trust. Now, once you've done yourself in the L&D and you're doing your own lasting power of attorney, you just say security agreement, security agreement, and then you create your private trust, all right, and you also do your lasting power of attorney, which is with the government, nothing to do with this part. This is separate, private, public, private, public. Don't get them mixed up, where you cannot send these documents to this group. You cannot ask this group to do these documents. These are separate. Private, public, private, public. All right? We do the lasting power of attorney with the Office of the Public Guardian. In England, well, definitely in England, right? It's in Birmingham. Okay? And there's two of them that you do. There's one for health and wellness, and most countries it's two. Health and wellness, and then one for property and finance. You do your health and wellness because you need the power of attorney to make sure if you can't speak for yourself and you end up in a hospital. On mine, I'm not allowed to be left with any NHS staff. I'm not allowed to have them sticking things in me or putting blood in me that I don't know where it came from, right? I would rather go in a corner and die. I don't care. I know I'm going to come back. I know what I'm going to get like over the next one, right? But I ain't doing what they say. I'm dying on my terms. I don't care. I don't care about dying. I'm not scared of dying, but I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do what they say, right? I ain't committing suicide either. So if that ever happens, you know, it wasn't me, right? Because I'm not going to commit suicide, because not only is it wrong, but it's going to make you pull back faster anyway to where you don't want to be. But I will make sure I do it my way, even if it's just to sit in the corner and starve to death alone and left, because I'm not getting nothing stuck in me, all right? And nothing pumped into me that I don't want. But also on the property and the finance, then you have to look after the property and the finance, because if you end up getting put in a home, you haven't sorted this out, or I'm talking about your parents, grandparents, have a look at it and think about it as well for them. They will take everything off them, everything, to stick them in a home. All right. Now, I mean, who can remember? I can't remember, right, before like my parents, that people got stuck in homes. Everyone used to get looked after in a community at home. This is a modern thing, this bullshit of putting grandparents and parents in homes so you can get rid of them and not have to worry about them. This is a cabal thing. Get rid of them. You put your children in nurseries now. I think they're about like 6 months old, shitting on the floor and everything, right? It's just like breaking down the community so they can control and rule. And soon they'll all get like, you know, have like chips on them and everything. But anyway, that is what you need to do. Make sure they can't destroy your property, right? Or take your property and sell it so you can stick you in a home, or rip out everything from your bank account. They will take everything, everything. This power of attorney will stop it if you do it properly in a private trust. It has to be done in a private trust properly, right? But remember, they're separate. If you need help and assistance, then ask. But like, you know, ask in a proper way. I'm trying to think of how to say that. Just some strange questions this week. All right. So just quickly on to the trust. So we have a private trust. It comes in this triangle shape here because there's three entities to it. We'll have the settler or creator, the one that actually makes the trust, the one that actually creates it, settles property into it. This makes sense, doesn't it? You settle into it. In the United States, they call it a grantor. It's the same thing, grantor, because you grant the trust, all right? And then you grant things into the trust. In England or whatever, the UK, you got a settler or a creator. It is the settler, that's the name, but it's the creator, and you're on the top. You create it, all right? Now, I can get into really clever, complicated things to show you how to run things, but I'm just going to go over the basics. Once you have that, you're going to appoint a trustee. What you do as a settler is you actually put things into it. Let's just call it a house. Call it H. You no longer own it. You do not own that anymore. They have the title. The trust is the owner. Okay? So then what happens is it's set up there to help the beneficiaries. So you have the settler, the trustee, and the beneficiaries. Now, underneath the beneficiaries, all right, now you can do this by percentage, you can do this by units, and I'm not going to go into too much. It can go on and on and on. This is called an irrevocable private trust. It can go on. What these do, right, the reason what these were set up for, these people, let's just call them the Rockefellers and the Gettys and stuff like that, and why the Rockefellers are so satanic and the Rothschilds are so satanic, they're putting all this in to create massive wealth for like generations and generations in advance, not for them, right? Putting themselves in, putting the property into here for beneficiaries and default beneficiaries does not help them in the future. They think they're getting reincarnated. They think they're going to come back and they're going to get the benefit of it. This is true. I'm telling you now. So, but we have to think like that, because you have to benefit everyone coming in your family for generations and generations and generations. Now, like I said, think about it in the farm. If you've got the farm and you're going to protect the food, right there, the beneficiaries can be you. Let's just say that is a farm, for want of a better word. So you as the settlor put the farm in the trust. The trustee, again, it's a public network, so I'm not going to say too much about that. We've got a board of trustees. We've got ways of having the trustees that will look after it. And then what it is that there, because it's in the trust, that farm there can actually give benefit to the beneficiaries, which can be you and all of the families that are on there, right? So imagine that you had that in units, like this guy was saying, right? I'll do 4, but say it was 100, and they've all got their own little there. It's all in a private trust, and it's all in a PMA, and then you're passing the benefits out. And then what happens is, right? This is a really clever bit. Let's just what is this? That's grown food. That's grown food. That's grown food, right? And let's just say that they stop the food supply, and they stop the fiat currency, right? How much? What is that going to be worth now? That is the most valuable asset in the world. That is the world. The value is unbelievable, and you will be able to trade with it. With another trust over here, right? So you're trading with that trust over there. That trust's trading with you. So you're giving them what you have, and they're giving you what they have. And it's all in the private, right? So you're all getting what you need. They're getting the food, they're getting the material for the clothes, and it's going like this. And it's all trading, and there's no governments involved, which means there's no tax involved. Right? This is why we need to be in the private. This is why we need to get a private trust. We need to do it now. Okay? Because this is happening now. They are ready to kill you now. All right? So once you've actually set this up, even if we're not talking about this, once it's set up there, what we're doing when we pass it on to our default beneficiaries, which is your children and grandchildren, what you pass on the trust. You don't pass on the property. So if you've got a house worth 10 million, you don't pass on the 10 million and pay all that inheritance tax. You pass on the trust, and it stays in the trust. There's no tax. Right? This is what we'll have to start thinking about, okay? This, right? This is how we start setting up these societies that are outside the legal system, that are away from this legal society, which is completely false. I just showed you under the Magna Carta how false it was, right? It's false, it's fake, it's completely fraudulent. All they want to do is to rape and rip your complete lives out of you. This is how we set it up and live and survive and thrive, and let them that want to live in a legal society go their way and split the society and be our own private society. Does that make sense? Do you reckon that makes sense? Does anybody want to do this rather than be in the legal society? What do you think? Stick up some Stick up some comments and see what you think about that anyway. Yeah, it is a new world. Certainly is. And this is how we need to create it. You know? Wow, nearly 9 o'clock. I didn't mean to be on that. We need privacy. We've lost it. We've given it away. We truly have. We're just giving it away so easily. All right? But think about, we're putting things in the private. We're putting things in private trusts. They want to steal it from you. Not just predators, but governments are the worst predators of them all. What they cannot find, they cannot steal. If your name's not on it, how can they say it's yours? You shouldn't have a home with your name on. You should have a home with the trustee on. You shouldn't have a farm or a field that's growing food to protect you and your family and the next generation of living away from the legal society, because it should be in a trustee's name, not in your name. Stop owning things. We don't want to own it. We want to control it. Control it with trustees with a proper indenture, which is strong, which they must do what you say, and you can be the managing director. Did you know that? That's another thing. You can be set up in a company, in a private limited company, which is setting up there so you can be the controller of the trustees and have a strong indenture to make sure. Indentures just mean rules and regulations, laws. And it's all held in the common law, right, of equity, because all trusts are held in equity. So if they're coming to your house to give you a grief and you're standing there in equity, well, you can't talk to me because you're talking about acts and statutes. I'm here in a private trust. You're in private land. It's all private. It's in equity. Unless this stuff, your warrant, is it in equity, that warrant? Oh, sorry, it's from a magistrate's court. That's not equity. Fuck off. Okay? So, just talking about a little bit of case law, what I want to say, all right, well, they can't steal. That's why I put this bit in, right? Case law as well. Case law is very strong, all right? Case law, these fools in wigs and all them, they'll say that case law is common law, and it's not, but it's precedent created by what's went before, and it is very strong, and it can be used very good ways, okay? So the case law I'm talking about is Daesh, hopefully I've said that name correctly, versus HSBC, which is a bank. All right. When a person has equitable interest in a property from contribution to purchase price and is still living in the property, the bank cannot repossess. I'm putting that on there for talking about stealing. That's the only reason why I put that on there. Okay. All right. The excuse me. All right. So that there, if you have, everybody's put a deposit down to buy the house, usually, you know, and even if they're talking about 100% mortgage, you can't get 100% mortgage. It's an impossibility, because you would have to put 12.5% of an indemnity against 25% of the actual value, which is the indemnity insurance to actually get into the property for 100% mortgage. So you ended up paying nearly the same as if you put a deposit down. I'm not saying that again. Right, but that's a fact, because I used to sell mortgages, right? So 100% mortgage never is, and then you still got all your fees on top of it, and your conveyancing and everything like that. All right. So, but anyway, think about that. So you definitely have equitable interest. Equitable interest can get put into a trust. You put equitable interest into a trust, they can take nothing from you ever. Okay. And someone said the other day, well, what happens if we do all this and they drive up with the tanks and they're going to steal us with guns? All right, well, it's game over then, isn't it? So, like, you know, if they're going to do that and they're going to kill us all, try and take one or two of them before you go. What else can I say? You know, if it gets that bad, which it won't anyway, because we're going to win before there. We are going to win because it's a spiritual war. The Creator has blessed us and has put us on here to fight this war. It's put the right people in the right place to fight the war to win. The Creator did it, not us. Right? We have to believe in the Creator, knowing that they think and know a lot more than we do. And we're here, and I'm here to pass on this knowledge to you so you can help and fight your own spiritual war. So it ain't going to get that bad. So you're not going to have to worry about them rolling up there in tanks. And the thing is, if they do, and they're going to do it, then I'll be in there in front, and they can take me, and hopefully I can protect the people behind me. It ain't going to get that bad. We are going to win. We are going to win. I'm going to win because the Creator created us to put us here and is on our side. Right? This is a war we've picked. We have picked it. We picked it before we were born, and we've been put in here to do it to help the ones that are coming after. And we are sacrificing whatever we need to sacrifice to help the ones that come after. That's what we're here for. That's what this is all about. And we need to beat them. And because of that, we will beat them. Okay? What we're talking about is an irrevocable private common law trust. Inequity. It's inequity. Okay? All right. So, Senior Court Act, 1981, 49, Part 1. Okay? Where law and equity conflict, equity will prevail. So, what I was just saying there before, right? When they're going to come with acts and statutes and try and say things like that, we just say, look, we stand in equity. We stand in equity. In equity, right, is where we're writing our trusts. Okay? All right? So, this is the last bit I'm going to show. I thought there was one, right? Trusts are a well-known and established principle of English law. The Trustees Act, 1987. So, like I'm saying, we can now slap their faces now and again with their own acts and statutes. GDPR, which is like, you know, I'm sure they did by mistake because it just like protects us so well. Which is what I'm saying is like on the Magna Carta, if you looked at it and read it correctly and looked at this book and read it and studied on this book, right, it's going to tell you a hell of a lot more than listening to this Article 61 nonsense. You know, you really learn how to do it properly and what it's there for and what you can use it for. Okay? I don't mean that to be rude. You know, I've accepted a lot of rudeness from a lot of different people because of that Article 61 thing. I'm going to tip this down. All right? And I'm going to see if we can answer a couple of questions before we need to shoot off. Because that's been quite a lot. I mean, that's like, what time is it? Where's my glasses? Can't see the little writing. Wow, it's 9 o'clock. It's an hour and a half already. Excuse me. And that's a lot of information. All right. So what I'll do is, like, if you've got any questions, feel free to fire them in there now. And we'll have a few minutes before we have to shoot off. I'll go back up here and see if I've got any. Okay, now I'm talking about questions about what we've been going on about, by the way. All right, don't come out with these questions like out of the blue about something about like I've got a parking fine or anything like that. That's for different days. Anyway, if you park, pay the fine and get off with it, man. All right, there's bigger fish to fry. We're talking about like getting your trusts there and getting these things done correctly. You know, this is what we need to be doing. All right. Excuse me. Okay, so let's have a look then. I'm going to show this one. All right, it says, do you have the paperwork to start a trust? Well, there's many ways of getting a trust done. You can get a bespoke one done, right? Darren, like everybody knows, I recommend Darren to get a bespoke trust done. But listen, if you get you either go and buy yourself equipment and stick it in your kitchen to get a kitchen done, or you get a bespoke one, costs a lot more. I have paperwork on the website but it's on my members thing, so it's like, you know, nothing in there is going to be like, freedom isn't free. You cannot. I've spent fortunes to try and create something, and it's there for you, right? Get on there and you can get into the members area, which is like next to nothing, and you can get all the paperwork and help on how to set it up. I am setting up a brand new website, nearly finished. All right, where you can go on, just do a one-off fee and buy a trust document that is like, and then you can edit the bits for yourself, and it's still way above everything that I've seen anywhere available. You know, and that's how you can actually get it sorted up. So I've got it all there. You either can, my website, my second website will go onto the links. If you go onto my link tree, it'll be up on there. All right. So you either get it done that way, or once I've got my trust website, and you can get it all on there. Okay. Yeah, it's all on there. So just to show there, look, see, David become a member. It's all on there. Everything's there. You can get to see it. Okay, so I'm just going to show this one because I don't really know what that means. How can I get my birth certificate and the trust sorted out? I can sort the trust out, but I'm pretty sure your parents sorted your birth certificate out when you were born. What's that say there? Can you help us through your straw man page? What do you mean? Do you mean like can I help you read it, or can I help you by you go onto my straw man page? Then yes, definitely get on the straw man page, get on there, and I mean, if you go in the membership, I mean, I tell you what, you could never even watch all of the videos. There's just too many. Yeah, is there assistance and help? Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying. I'll help you do that. You can either do it by going into the membership and it's there with the help, or once I've set up the one-off site, you can do that as well. So either way, there's definitely help there, you know. So definitely, no problem. So just on this one, the L&D cannot be sent joint. You have to do separate ones. You have to do your own and tell them that you are alive. Okay. 100% works in America. I was telling you about like Jefferson, you know, yeah, for sure it works in America. That is most definite, man. All right. Okay, so they say once a private trust is created, can we change the land registry entry without going to a solicitor? Absolutely. Can the property and trust be sold? Absolutely. When it's time to move, yeah, of course. And you don't need a solicitor for anything. I have done so much stuff like you know without using a solicitor, and they rip your eyes out and your balls off and everything just to like get more money. You don't need to do any of it. You know. And you don't need I changed the land registry twice now. Didn't speak. You don't want to speak to solicitors. They're all liars. That's what I was saying before. You know, you're talking about the law, legum terri, law of the land. What they talk about is the legal society, which is a lie. Okay. Let's have a look. Hang on, I don't know what that means. Let's have a look. What does it say there? Does the setup here work equally for an expressed sweat equity private trust for tenants? I don't know what that means. I don't know what a sweat equity private trust for a tenant is. I don't know what that means. If you're a tenant in a property, you don't own the property, you can still have a trust. Okay. You don't need to just own your, like I'm saying, you can think about what you want to pass on. And build up your assets. I don't know what that means, by the way, but you know, you don't need to just own property. All right. So after the first 40 days, you had to wait another 40 days. This is only to get into the private. So what you do is you do your L&D, which goes along with your security agreement, which goes along with your power of attorney. You send it off to the Sinister 7. And it's a big document, 20, 30 pages, whatever. And on the, if you read it, it says on there, after 40 days it says on the L&D. So hopefully you've read it before you signed it and sent it off. And it says that you're going to send another one. Right? It says it on there. So hopefully you did read it. And then, right, after the 40 days, you've got to give them a second bite of the cherry. So it's not 40 days, it's actually 80 days. Okay. All right, let's have a look. Right, that's what I was saying. It doesn't matter if you own or don't or rent or anything like that, you know. Go onto my website, or you can email peter@claimyourstrawman.com. peter@claimyourstrawman.com, and just put it in, you know, what you want. You want help with the trust, and then we'll answer the questions. take it from there. Start what, Julie? Start going into private. You do it all for free. Go to the website. You can download all the documents all for free. Put your name on, send them off. Totally free. You don't have to pay anything to do that. If you want to do the trust, there's a hell of a lot more work in it, and obviously we need to pay for that. But to start it off, getting into private, completely and utterly free. And to tell you, right, them documents that I've got there, I know that they get sold for between £2,000 and £5,000 just to put you into private. And you got them all on my website there for free, right? Oh. Okay, there you go. Well done, Linda. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that democracy defined. Okay. Now, the what I would say to that, do you have to send out the letters? I'm talking about the L&D. It's not a letter. It's a notice. It's an affidavit notice. And you're going to send them out to the government. You want to start doing that before you get the private trust set up, because you need to be in the private. But just start it. Once you've started it, then you can set up the private trust. You don't have to wait until it's finished, okay? All right, you begin this process in America exactly the same as you do anywhere else in the world, okay? You need to go onto my website, claimyourstrawman.com. You can download the files for free, the documents for free. Start putting yourself up into the private, okay? Oh, I can only presume what you mean. I'm gonna think. You know, say for instance, if it's an L&D, it would probably be FHS, means Fred Henry Smith, hyphen. What's today's date? It would be 06/05/2022 hyphen LND. So you would put your initials in. So your what's that? BD hyphen today's date 06/05/2022 hyphen LND. That's the reference numbers you're talking about. Or if you're talking about in the brackets and it's your birth certificate number, well, I think you need to put your birth certificate number in there. All right, it works for all countries, Fiji included, and born in the UK. Yeah, you can definitely. Let's have a look. Okay, I need to put this. Got accepted for my 1099A today, Peter, and I'm in Dublin. Happy days, I hope. All right. I mean, you have to tell me a little bit more about that. Do you mean you're trying to buy something with the 1099A, or are you putting it in to reclaim abandoned funds? Because there's different ways of doing it, you know, if you watch the different websites. So I'd be interested to know what you mean there. The trust website the trust website will be open as soon as possible. Obviously, I'm working hard on getting it done. But, you know, if you go on the member site, but I know everyone's different. If you just want to pay a one-off fee, obviously you pay a one-off fee on when I get that up there. You know, but like he's saying there, all paperwork is on the member site, and the trust, everything is on there. Okay. All right. Ba-bum-bum. What was the title of the Magna Carta book? It is called Democracy Defined. Democracy Defined. The Manifesto. Well, Democracy Defined is the actual title. All right. You can get that on Amazon. In fact, go onto my website and I've got a link to it. Go straight there. All right. The word legem terry, it's LEGEM. All right. Lima, Echo, Golf, Echo, Mike. Terry, it's a TER, and it's AE that are joined together like Latin. Oh, yeah. That's how you spell that. Okay. Yeah, it definitely works for Fiji. You can even give me a holiday to Fiji. Oh, there's David. Hi, David. I meant to text you back, David. I've got some stuff I need to tell you to help you like go to the next step. Just so you know. So, all right, I'll try and text you later, okay, and get that sorted. Just something I want to like say how we actually get that moving. All right. Okay, let's go back. I'm gonna keep going down. You answered your question. Yeah, definitely do it for your children. All right. So what can I include in the private trust? You can put anything that is your property. What you put in a private trust is your property. Proper to I. My property. Proper to I. What is proper to I? Fingerprints. They are mine. They are proper to I. I'm not giving them to anyone, not unless you get permission from all of the trustees. Written permission, signed permission. My DNA is proper to I, my property. It's going in my private trust, and you're not getting it. You're not changing it either by alterations or any of these things. Okay, plus obviously anything that I want to have, like my business, my bank account, my gold, right? My crypto. We're going to go into more on that. I haven't got much longer anyway, but I don't want to get too convoluted. But right, if it's proper to you, proper to I, it's your property. Okay, then it's going to be able to put into the trust. Okay, all right. Let's have a look. All right. Sorry, Fritz. I'm very busy tomorrow. Yeah, it's Scooby, the trust document. It is a very complex document. Is it 44? I thought it was even more than that. It's just and that is only the trust deed, by the way, with the indenture. That's not taken into account the other documents which I have here, right? Which is like you've got we have the memorandum of trust, which is not part of the 44 documents. All right, so there's a lot more pages on that document. And that's the deed of trust as well that's going in. And then you've also got like the settlement ones, which is putting the assets into it. So, and look, I'm showing it. Where's it come? Oh, there. Look, see, you've got like all of the postal mechanics. This is the post office stamp, which is over the stamp, and then it gets all sorted. So those documents are on top of the trust deed. So the trust deed is the one that's 44 pages. Yeah, it's like it's quite an effort to get that sorted. All right, I'm going to put this one up again because I'm not sure what this means. Right, does this setup work? Means can a bike, personal objects, and clothes be put in a private trust? I don't know what a sweat equity trust for tenants means. I really don't understand what that means. But a private trust, all of those things you're saying can all be put in a private trust, including you and your children. But you shouldn't be calling them children. It should be your sons and daughters. All right. So yeah. Okay. You can, I'm going to put this one up. You can put your percentage in as private trust. You can put a split percentage in a private trust. All right. So if they're not on board with you or anything like that, you can actually split it and put your percentage in a private trust. Okay. No, right. You see, you're not really getting it, but like what you're doing is you're putting everything. You can put your workings from a bank account in the private trust. Like, look, if you're going to split hairs, then you can actually say you're not even you would never own anything. Did you realize that? Your car, you don't own your car. A DVLA own your car, it tells you, right? You never own your house. You're never going to own a house, but you can put your interests in the house in a private trust. You'll never own your house, right? The Crown Corporation own your house, right? Even it doesn't matter if you paid off your mortgage 100 years ago, you don't own nothing, but you can put your interest in it in the trust. Okay. All right. All right, then there we go. It's exactly the same. America, England, it's all the same. And it is. Everything goes in a private trust. You're talking about like the same information, the same. Right. What you put. Okay. Now, I think when you're saying you put your equity, you're talking about the equity. So, say for instance, if you owned a house and your house is worth 200,000 and your mortgage is 100,000, so 100,000 is the equity. You don't need to do an RX1. But the equity will go into the trust. Don't use government forms for a private trust, because then it's no longer private. It's public. We have to make sure we keep it private. Okay, so I'm going to shoot people. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. That was a ton of information. Hopefully you've got a lot out of there. And the bit that you own, yes, you put that into the trust. You don't have to use a form to do it. You put it in via your declaration that you're creating. You do not use government forms for private trusts. All right, people, I am going to go. Hopefully you enjoyed. Lots of love to you. Take care. Have a good weekend. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. All right. And, remember, we're in a spiritual war, but we are going to win. We're going to beat them. That's all there is to it. We have got the Creator on our side that put us here to fight them and get that evil off of this existence. All right. Okay. So enjoy the weekend. Take care. Hope everything's good for you. And hope you enjoyed the knowledge. For the members area, I'm going to get it sorted and put it up. It's going to be the last one and this one. It's just so much good information. On the members area, what I am going to do is a live where I'm going to go so deep into creation of the trust and how to set it all up. And I'll really get into protective. And that will be going up very soon on a live, just the members. All right. So, I know that I haven't done when I've been so busy running around the place, and evil will be banished. You are so true, George. So take care. Love to everyone. All right. Get under that Creator. Get it all going. Bill Need, how are you doing? All right. Got the email. I don't know if you've seen you on here before. All right. Maybe I've got off quicker. But anyway, take care. See you.